Mitch McConnell, Republican senator from Kentucky, he went on Meet the Press. And David Gregory, even though David Gregory's reporting on a lot of these so-called scandals has not been very good, and he's been all over the place, and it's a whole other story. That aside, he had a pretty good line of questioning with Mitch McConnell here and asking him, well, what is the evidence that this is anything having to do with President Obama, right? Because there are kind of two issues with every single one of these so-called scandals we've been talking about. What happened, but also how much did President Obama have to do with it? And you have to look at these two things separately and brace yourselves, ladies and gentlemen. You're about to hear some doublespeak of epic proportions from Mitch McConnell. Notice that he doesn't answer anything. He talks a lot, doesn't answer anything. Listen.
Senator, welcome back.
Good morning.
Let me get right to it and start on the IRS. Why don't you accept the word from not only White House officials, but from the former acting commissioner who said these were foolish mistakes about targeting conservative groups, but there is not evidence of a political agenda?
Right.
Actually, there is a culture of intimidation throughout the administration. The IRS is just the most recent example. Let me just recount a few for your audience.
Okay. I'm going to stop it right there, not because I don't want you to hear what he's saying, but because he doesn't say anything, okay? And so that's part one. Then it goes on even further, and he gets asked again. Now, so far, Lewis, to recap, he goes on for a minute, and he is asked, why can't you just accept that for whatever happened, whatever analysis we can make, it doesn't have anything to do with President Obama? And he has this, it's half a page. It's half a page here that he says about, listen, there's a culture of intimidation, and he goes back and he talks about things that don't even have to do with the IRS. This is important because, Natan, this is a known tactic that Mitch McConnell is trained to do, right? Which is redirect and fluff. Redirect and fluff with stuff that might sound related, but it really isn't. And he kind of does it well, but we're seeing through it, aren't we?
That's right. And this is kind of like the main idea of all of these proto-scandals or almost scandals, which is that you can debate whether the right thing was done in each case and criticize and then make recommendations as to what needs to be done going forward, but it just has nothing to do with Obama. And David Gregory, for all of his faults, did question him appropriately here, and he didn't get an adequate response.
So let's continue, and now he just goes back and forth and still no answers.
But, Senator, that is a leap. That's a leap that you can make as argument, but you don't have fact to back it up. You can create, and I asked Dan Pfeiffer about it. You can talk about a culture. Do you have any evidence that the President of the United States directed what you call a culture of intimidation at the IRS to target political opponents?
I don't think we know what the facts are.
But that hasn't stopped you from accusing.
What we're talking about here is an attitude that the government knows best. And that
right. All of a sudden, government attitudes are caused to make allegations that President Obama had his hand in all of this stuff. I mean, imagine, Lewis, if every single time the government or elected officials had a bad attitude about something, it was a scandal.
I love how he's tripping over his words there for a little bit.
It's like if I say, producer Lewis, I believe, is raping little girls every night, and nobody knows about it. He sneaks out of his house in the dead of night, nobody knows about it. And then you would say to me, well, what evidence do you have of that? And I'd say, listen, there's been a culture of intimidation that I've seen on Lewis when it comes to women, okay? And I'm not going to prejudge until we know how this culture of intimidation does or doesn't connect to raping little girls. I'm going to wait for all of the facts, Lewis. And then you say to me, right, but you made the initial allegations. Wouldn't you have made those based on some kind of initial evidence or facts? Lewis,
there's an investigation.
Why are you pushing me on this? We're going to wait for all the facts. There's an investigation going on. I don't know what all the facts are. I don't know definitively that Lewis doesn't rape little girls. We just don't know. That's what Mitch McConnell has done here.
How can you get away with this? This should be illegal.
Well, yeah.
By the way,
I mean, technically, that's slander, right?
Yeah, I guess.
I think it is. By the way, this is exactly how rumors get started. What Dave just described is indistinguishable from when someone plants the seed of a rumor without any evidence, and then people act as if the fact that they were aware of the rumor means that there was some basis originally for bringing it up.